Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. Why do I always say that? Well, I say that because I'm seeing a lot of really fancy advertising from a lot of vocal coaches on the internet where they still display absolutely no singing. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, but look really closely. They're not singing and they show no students singing. And I'm telling you, run from that. If they can't prove it themselves, they can't teach you how to do it. Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I had to do a vocal coach reacts to Motorhead. Obviously the vocalist is Lemmy, and I chose the song Ace of Spades. Before I do that, I want to give you some backdrop between me and Lemmy. So Lemmy used to hang out at the Rainbow Bar and Grill all the time in LA, and a lot of us did. We went down there, and I met Robert Plant there, and just all kinds of people. In fact, I want to share a Robert Plant story that you'll get a kick out of in the midst of all this. So hey, and they're fun Ken Tamplin stories. But we were signed to a label at the time called Music for Nations. And they were based out of the UK. The head of the label's name was Martin Hooker. And on the same label was Metallica and Stryper and various bands or whatnot. And so they were hooking us up with MTV Europe, which was in the UK. It was the first time that I met Lemmy. And he was hosting the show and he was asking me questions. And before we got off to any start at all, I noticed this big fresh scar on his arm. And I'm like, what happened, dude? He goes, oh, mate, that's when they threw the change. Oh, actually, they threw some shrapnel on stage, And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, it cut me arm into bits to ribbons, is what he said. He says, but I still finished the effing show. And so I guess he bled all over the place and still finished the show, and then they rushed him to the hospital in true Lemmy fashion. And so we're at MTV, and I said, I have an odd question for you. I said, I've seen other things written on you about this, but why is it that you sing up into the microphone? Because that cuts off the trachea and your air supply, and it's really hard to do that. He goes, oh, it's a bloody hell funny story, mate. When we first started out, we used to play a lot of these biker bars and, blah, blah, kind of gnarly clubs. And he says, almost every single time a fight would break out, but we couldn't stop the band. We had to keep going. So in order to keep from getting hit or something thrown at you, I just learned how to, sing up like this, so his fists are flying and things are throwing and tables are getting knocked over and people getting hit over the head with chairs and stuff. The band played on. Lemmy was a bad mofo, I'm telling you straight up. So anyway, the Robert Plant story. So I was at the Rainbow Bar Grill, and Lemmy was there, and one of my other clients, Kat Von D, was there. And so he comes out and he goes, hey, mate, how you doing? What's going on? What are you doing? And I said, well, I just came back over from the Roxy. It's a well-known club right next door. We had played, and we did it was like BAM magazine. I forget what it was, but it was a fundraiser for a local rock magazine. And so he goes, well, man, did you guys get the money that you wanted? And I said, yeah, I think we did pretty well. There was a lot of bands on the bill. We were up, kind of high, so it was nice, just got out. So he goes walking back in, and I'm waiting for my car, and Robert Plant comes walking out. And all of a sudden, there's this group of I'd say 5 girls and 3 guys from one of the opening acts that had just played at this rock benefit concert. And one of the girls comes chomping over. She looks straight at Robert. She goes, so, you in a band? And he looks at me, and he looks back at her, and he goes, well, I used to be. And she goes, oh. And chews her gum, and she goes walking off, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. We both started laughing, and I didn't have to say a word. Then his Bentley pulls up, he gets in it, and I think the whole band realized that was Robert Plant after she walks off. So talk about money grabbers, or what are they called, gold diggers. But anyway, I had to share some of those fun stories because growing up in LA, we got to see a lot of this, and Motorhead isn't the least of which is one of those bands. But let's go ahead and do a reaction to Motorhead, Ace of Spades. By the way,
one of the loudest bands if not the loudest band I have ever heard. Straight up. Probably the most energetic band I've ever seen. Back in the 80s, we didn't quite know how to categorize them because it was almost like punk, but not quite punk because it was more bar band, blues, like blues rock. So it was weird to have this like blues rock band with all of the angst and energy of a punk band. That's kind of, how we all looked at it back then. So, and then of course they just later just became, a great rock band. But, and notice that, Ace of Spades, the neck going up there. I get tired for the drummer just looking at it's just like non-stop energy. Now imagine, Lemmy just passed here, as we know, God rest his soul, but he was doing this into his 70s. I mean, think about that, guys. I mean, that is a long time career, and it's a lot of energy for somebody in their 70s to put out this kind of energy. Let me tell you that. Okay, so one more funny story. So anyway, I was the band that I was in. We got to warm up for them for one show. I was at the Marquee Club in London, but they'd had this wire mesh all around the stage, and I had played there before in another band I was in, and they didn't have that wire mesh before. And so I asked Lemmy, I go, "Hey dude, what's the wire mesh for?" He goes, "Oh, it's when they throw the change. The change hurts." He says, "Oh, they might piss in a bottle and throw the bottle at you, and at least it doesn't splat all over you." And I'm like, ew. Sure enough, man, they were just throwing all kinds of stuff, man. It was just insane. It's almost like just being in a brawl or something, or the rugby of metal or something. Man, it takes the wind out of you just listening to it, right? So imagine doing like 90 minutes of that all night long, just crazy, crazy energy. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy. I exchange all these ideas in our singing forum. So I have a singing forum with, gosh, I don't know, 15, 16, 17,000 people in there. Might even be more than that now, with some really cool moderators. And we all sit around and talk about, all the different vocal techniques and different band ideas, and, how you can perfect your voice. I also have a singing course out there. It's called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else, and I discuss and negotiate all this kind of stuff in the course, and I think if you're a singer, you'll love it, okay? All right, guys, until next time, peace out. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button. That will actually take you to another page where you want to click on the bell icon, and it opens up a menu, and the menu has notifications on it where there's a little box you can check where it says send me all notifications for this channel. check the box and then click the save button and you'll get notifications from me every time I have a cool video come out. Okay? Thanks guys. Peace out.